everybody. Hi, it's Becky from Power Tools with Thread. In the last two videos I made, I had told you guys that I was going to be doing a software demonstration for Simply Applique at the Houston Quilt Festival. Well, I need to practice so I don't get up there and flounder around and waste my 30-minute time slot that I have. So I'm going to guinea pig you guys on what it is I want to do. Simply Applique is a software program made by a company called Pacesetter. And it will turn paper, it's designed to work with the ScanNCut. See, it says ScanNCut compatible right there. And it is designed to work with paper patterns for applique quilts. And it will turn those paper patterns, like if you scan them into the ScanNCut, and then it will create what's called an FCM file. And that FCM file can be imported into Simply Applique, and it will turn it into an applique file for you for use on your embroidery machine. It's very cool and it's a lot of fun. Sometimes we will get applique patterns. Here's a little one called Seasons in Patches. This is a little one. So that's a real cute little applique pattern. And you will, all that's in there, it's just a little simple one. And see how it has the dotted lines? This is very, very common in applique patterns, and the dotted lines show you what goes underneath something or sits on top of something else. If this is all you get, you would want to individually trace each one of these patterns onto another sheet of paper to scan into the ScanNCut. This is a super cute little pattern by Amy Bradley, and it is called Animal Whimsy. Joy Bernhardt got this for her grandson, and I thought it was so cute, so I went and bought it. So this is nothing but applique here, and in this particular pattern, you'll get one of those files that has the dotted lines, but you'll also get the individual pattern pieces that you can have there. So to make this one, all you'd have to do is cut these out and scan them in. So because I've only got a 30-minute time frame to do that at the show, I asked Joy to give me a hand and asked her if she could come up with a design of something I could do that was quick and easy to show how great this little program is. This program, Simply Applique, works with any kind of embroidery machine that you have, so it is not brother specific or Baby Lock or Janome. It can save into any of those file types. And like I said, the beauty of it is it's designed to work with the ScanNCut. So the ScanNCut will turn those applique piece files into what's called an FCM, and that is a file compression format. I'll show you what we're going to do here. So Joy drew a Christmas stocking. So this has three pieces. It has the sock, the heel, and the little top part. She also sent me the parts in individual little drawings, okay? So this is what I'm going to scan into the ScanNCut. I have the Brother 650 wireless ScanNCut. I like this thing because it will wirelessly upload to the Brother Canvas cloud. And to do this, you're going to need the scanning mat. And it's very simple. The scanning mat is not sticky. It comes with a little plastic sheet that you just slide your pieces inside and load the scanning mat by pressing the load button. And then we're going to scan it and scan to cut data and then start. Now this one makes that whining sound. The newer version, the ScanNCut DX, is very quiet. So as you can see, everything has scanned into the ScanNCut right here. I'm going to put a USB stick into the ScanNCut. On the side of my ScanNCut here, I have one of those little, I think it's called a shaving cup, but it's one of those command strip things, and I use it to hold all my little tools. So the line, you have a choice of getting all the outside lines, and then I prefer this button right here to grab everything that I need. It prevents having multiple layers. I'm not real sure how all that works, but I know that this does. And I'm going to save it. And it wants to know, where do I want to save it? Well, I'm going to save it to the USB stick. And look what it saves as, an FCM file. Can you see that? Let me get in there. I don't know if you can see. It's saving as an FCM file. That's the file, and that's not because I saved it on the stick. It will do the same thing in the machine. But so that's the file that's going to be used to create the embroidery file. I'm going to tell it OK. And now I'm going to go back to home, and it's going to ask, is that okay to delete all patterns? And that's okay because we were in the scanning mode, or now we want to get into a cut mode. So I'm going to tell it okay. Okay, so I'm going to pull up my pattern that I just scanned in, and I'm going to go to Save Data, USB, and I want number 4. I'm going to tell it okay. Now there are a lot of things on this screen that I don't want. Like this straight line right here is the bottom edge of the paper. These little dash lines right here are probably the edge of the paper. And so what I want to do is I want to move the pieces I want to keep out of the way. And then I'm going to touch this button right up here. And I'm going to use this button right here and create some little handles to get rid of the things. I'm going to tell this okay. Untouch that. Everything that's highlighted in red, okay. Delete, okay. Delete, okay. That's good. Okay. Now, another thing we need to do, because the fabric is face down on the cutting mat, I'm going to move these over here. The fabric is face down on the cutting mat, so we need to invert everything. So this is a select all, the 3 little red boxes, and I'm going to select all, so it highlighted them all. I'm going to tell it okay, and then I'm going to come over here to the up and down and sideways arrows, and I'm going to hit this mirror image right here and tell it okay. Perfect. And okay. So when you're going to cut, there is a set of, you can kind of see the quadrants. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. And you want to think about how the fabric is going to be placed in different spots. So like I probably wouldn't want this over here. You'd want to put this here so it's got its own place for fabric, and this one has its own for fabric. And see how if I put this one here, it would probably get in the way of a piece of fabric that would be square, unless you fussy cut it, but that's kind of a pain. So we'll just do that. Okay. So when you are working with the ScanNCut, you're going to want to get one that you're going to want your cutting mat, and you'll need a fabric support sheet. The fabric support sheet is very sticky, and it will hold your fabric in such a way that it won't shift or move around. You also need to make your fabric fairly stiff, and so I use Heat and Bond Soft Stretch Light. I just iron it on. It's like Wonder Under, and I use that on the back of my fabric. It will make it, it gives it enough body so that it won't stretch around underneath the cutting machine. So I'm gonna, this is the top part up in this quadrant. I'm gonna put this right here, paper side up, and the heel right here, and the boot right here. A little piece of yellow fabric on there. There. Okay. I'm going to load the mat. All right. Tell it okay and cut. And now we're ready to go. 1 minute, it will cut all those pieces out. Finish cutting, okay? And eject. I had my blade set at almost a 4. And pull this up nice and clean. Very nice. When you do this, that's got some good scraps going for it there. You can skip the tack down stitch in the embroidery file. Now the size of your applique pieces have been established by the cutting machine, okay? So now we need to put the FCM file into Simply Applique. We've already saved it to the stick, so now we can go do that. Simply Applique home screen. And one of the first things you would want to do is to establish your hoop size. And so in the main home menu, there is a button called Hoop, and you go to it and click Select Hoop, and you can make your own. You can delete some of them that are there, and I have already set up PES. It has lots of different brands of embroidery files that you can use. So I'm going to use the 240 by 360 millimeter hoop, which is like a 9 by 14. So I'm good with that. I'm going to tell it okay. And my hoop appears on the screen. Now I want to go up here to the A and click Import FCM. And I'm going to go to my USB stick and get number 4 and tell it open. There it is. All right. Let's get rid of some of these things, highlight and delete. And you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to move these out of the way first and wait for the hand to turn into little fingers. And I'm going to highlight everything else that might be in here and just hit delete. And that way everything is where I want it to be. Again, don't mess with the size because you've already established the size with the cutting machine. So I want to make this just a little bit bigger. I'm going to roll my mouse button up and give me a little more room here. Whoop, wrong way. And I'm going to rotate by hovering over the little blue button, and there it will rotate. And I want to move this right in here. I can make it rotate just a hair more. I'm going to go a little bit bigger. There, I like, perfect. And let me grab this. And rotate it. That looks pretty good, I think. Yep. Let me Control All and rotate the whole thing just a little bit, kind of straighten it up on the axis there. Okay, that looks pretty good. I like it very much. All right, I'm going to go arrange. I'm going to click the center button. There. That puts the whole thing in the center of my hoop. Now you want to Control A for all, and I'm going to go to Tools and Convert to Applique. And it defaults to a satin stitch. I don't want a satin stitch, I want a blanket stitch. And I want the width down to 2.5, so it's not quite so big. And then come down here and click Apply. I'm going to leave everything else as it is. There we go. Now, the only thing we need to do is put everything in the right order so that it stitches out properly. So we want the sock part to be first. So I'm going to grab the top here, and I'm going to click and drag it down till it is highlighted over the heel, and that moves it below the heel. So it will stitch the sock first, and then the heel, and then the top. Okay, that's perfect. I think we're all done. So now we need to click on the A again, and we're going to go Save As, and come down here. I'm going to do it on a Brother machine, so I'm going to save it as PES, and I'm going to save it on my USB, and this is going to be stocking. Save. All done. Time to go to the machine. Okay, so I have a piece of hooped fabric with the tearaway stabilizer behind it, and I have put my USB stick in the machine. I'm going to go to my universal symbol for USB, and I think this is on page 6. Yes, here it is right here. And there it is, and you can see all of the difference. There is your placement stitch and your tack down and your blanket stitch there. So you can see the first one it's going to do is the placement stitch for the sock. I'm going to go press sewing, and make sure your foot's down and ready to go. So I have my quilter's cut and press on my lap. I am just going to place, I've removed the paper backing. It comes off really easy, just like Wonder Under. And I'm just going to place it into the lines exactly where it needs to go. And then press. You don't want to go back and forth. You might shift it. You don't want to do that. Now, because we have ironed it down, there is no need for the tack down line. If you use a glue stick on your pieces, then you would use a tack down line. So to skip this step of doing the tack down, I'm going to hit the needle plus minus here, and I'm just going to go plus a thread spool, and that's going to jump ahead one thread in the design, and now it is ready to stitch out the blanket stitch. Put my foot down and go. Next one is the placement stitch for the heel. Okay. Look up close how good the registration is on this. There's no gap between the edge of the fabric and the stitch line. Okay guys, so I hope this was informative, and I have a lot of fun making this. The possibilities on this thing are endless. You can take any applique quilting pattern, any applique pattern, and do this with Simply Applique. Once you get your first time or two doing it down, you'll get it just right, and your applique projects are just gonna be lickety split. It's amazing what you can do with this software. So thanks for being my guinea pigs. I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you soon. And if you see me at the show, come by and say hi. Talk to you soon. Bye.